What if a simple act of courage completely changed the course of your life? Elise never imagined that by helping a stranger on a cold night, she would have the chance to fulfill her biggest dream and discover a love that transcended all barriers. But not everything would be easy. Amidst prejudice, challenges, and transformations, this story shows us how fate can surprise us in unforgettable ways. It was a cold night in Chicago, the kind where the wind cuts through even the thickest coats. Nathaniel Morgan, a successful entrepreneur in his early 50s, stepped out of a luxurious restaurant in the city center. The weight of yet another long workday was evident in his posture as he adjusted his scarf and walked toward his sleek black car parked nearby. Lost in thought, he didn't notice the quiet footsteps following him until it was almost too late. From the shadows, a man emerged in a swift motion, attempting to snatch Nathaniel's leather briefcase. A chill ran down his spine, momentarily freezing him, but before the thief could escape, a loud and determined voice echoed, "Hey, let go of him right now." A young woman, her red hair tousled by the wind, rushed out of the restaurant where she worked and ran toward them. Without hesitation, she shoved the man with surprising force. Startled, the attacker stumbled and fled into the darkness, leaving Nathaniel standing still, speechless. The young woman turned to him, still catching her breath. "Are you okay?" she asked, her voice steady despite the adrenaline rushing through her. Nathaniel nodded slowly, his eyes falling on her restaurant uniform. "Yes, I think so. Thank you. I don't even know your name." "Elise," she replied, brushing a strand of hair from her face. "I work at the restaurant here. I was just leaving when I saw what was happening." Nathaniel studied her carefully. She looked tired, yet there was a determined glimmer in her eyes. Her courage impressed him deeply. "That was very brave of you," he said. "If it weren't for you, I would have lost my briefcase." "It was nothing," Elise responded modestly. "I just did what any decent person would do." Nathaniel thanked Elise repeatedly for her bravery that night. Although everything had happened so quickly, he was profoundly moved by the kindness of a young woman he had never met before. They parted ways at that moment, but even days later, Nathaniel couldn't shake the memory of her heroic act. Something about her left a lasting impression. A few days later, he decided he needed to repay her in some way. He returned to the restaurant where Elise worked and asked to see her. She appeared at the door, adjusting her apron, surprised to see Nathaniel there again. "Mr. Morgan? Is everything okay?" she asked with a polite smile. Nathaniel smiled back. "Everything is fine, Elise. Actually, I'm here for you. Since that night, I haven't been able to forget what you did for me. Your courage, your kindness. It was incredible, and I feel like I need to do something in return." Elise quickly shook her head. "I really appreciate that, but you don't have to. What I did that night was something I would do for anyone. It was no big deal." Nathaniel observed her for a moment, seeing the sincerity in her eyes. He smiled, admiring her even more. "You truly have a good heart, Elise. But still, I want to find a way to help you. Let me ask you something. Do you have a dream? Something you've always wanted to achieve?" She hesitated, unsure of how to answer. After a moment, she took a deep breath. "I've been working since I was very young to help my family. I never had much time to think about dreams, but if I could choose, I've always wanted to study music, to play the piano professionally. It's something I love, but I never had the opportunity." Nathaniel tilted his head, deep in thought. Suddenly, an idea came to him. "What if I told you I could help you make that dream come true? I would love to give you that chance. Actually, I'd be grateful if you accepted it." Elise widened her eyes. "Really? But why? You barely know me." "Because you deserve it," Nathaniel said firmly. "I can recognize potential when I see it. Think about it, no pressure. Just an opportunity to explore what you love." She was still hesitant, but his kindness and sincerity touched her. "All right. I'll think about it," she finally said. At that moment, Nathaniel felt he had done something right. They talked a little more, and Elise gradually felt at ease around him. A friendship was born, and Nathaniel was even more impressed by her kindness and simplicity. When he got home, he told his son, Tholes, everything and shared his idea of helping Elise. Tholes, a talented 28-year-old pianist, was a teacher at a music academy and also composed in his spare time. He was known for his passion for music and his laid-back nature, but he also carried the weight of high expectations from his family. "Dad, it sounds like you found a real gem. Of course, I'll help. I love teaching, and it would be a pleasure to meet Elise," Tholes replied with a warm smile. Nathaniel felt proud hearing that. He knew Tholes had a generous heart, and this could be the beginning of something incredible for all of them. Days passed, and Nathaniel arranged for Elise to have her first lesson with Tholes. She scheduled it on her day off and felt a mix of nervousness and excitement. She never imagined that a single night could open the door to fulfilling an old dream. Arriving at the Morgan mansion, Elise was greeted by Tholes with a warm smile. He led her to the spacious music room, equipped with various instruments, and at the center stood a grand piano, majestic and imposing. Elise was mesmerized. She had only ever seen pianos like that on her phone screen. Still feeling a bit shy, she hesitated to step fully into the room, but Tholes' polite and cheerful demeanor soon put her at ease. "Welcome, Elise. Make yourself comfortable," he said with a smile, pulling out a chair beside the piano. "This space is for you to explore your passion for music." She smiled timidly, glancing around. "It's all so beautiful. I never thought I'd be in a place like this. Thank you for having me." "The pleasure is mine," Tholes replied. "My father spoke a lot about you. Now it's my turn to see what you know. Would you like to try playing something?" With trembling hands, Elise sat at the piano. She played a simple melody she had taught herself, and the emotion in her performance immediately caught Tholes' attention. When she finished, he clapped softly, impressed. "You have talent, Elise. There's something special about the way you play. With practice, you can go very far," he said. "We'll start slow, but I promise you'll learn a lot." With each lesson, Elise felt more at ease. The piano lessons were not just about music, they became moments of discovery, where she and Tholes shared stories and dreams. He encouraged her to believe in herself, while she admired his patience and dedication. As the weeks passed, their connection deepened. Elise wasn't just learning quickly, she also began to see Tholes as more than just a teacher. He, in turn, was enchanted by her simplicity and generous heart. Every smile, every note played on the piano seemed to bring them closer. But like in every story, not everyone was happy about their growing closeness. Victoria, Tholes' mother, watched with suspicion. To her, Elise was a threat to the status and future she had envisioned for her son. Her discomfort grew with each passing day, until she finally decided to confront Tholes about his relationship with Elise. "She's a good girl, Mom," Tholes responded firmly. "And she has talent. If you just allowed yourself to know her better, you'd understand." Elise soon started sensing the tension whenever she arrived at the mansion for her lessons. Victoria's cold stares and the heavy atmosphere whenever she was around made her feel uneasy. It made Elise withdraw, even as her heart grew fonder of Tholes. She felt she couldn't express her feelings, knowing that Victoria's hostility was already a significant barrier. Meanwhile, Tholes could no longer ignore what he felt for Elise. He knew his mother would never approve, but he didn't care. To him, Elise was much more than a talented student. She was an incredible, kind, and vibrant young woman. Every moment with her felt like a gift, and he longed to be with her not just as her teacher, but as something more. Days passed, and the lessons continued, but what was growing between them wasn't just musical knowledge, it was a deep, undeniable feeling. Until one day, during a lesson, as they sat side by side at the piano, Tholes could no longer hold back. He looked at Elise and with a firm voice said, "Elise, I can't hide this anymore. Since the day I met you, you've been so much more than just a student to me. I've been captivated by your strength, your determination, and the beauty you carry, not just on the outside but within you. I've fallen in love with you." Elise widened her eyes, surprised. Even though she had feelings for him, she never imagined he might feel the same way. After all, they came from such different worlds. But when she looked into Tholes' eyes, she knew he was telling the truth. With her heart pounding, she smiled softly and replied, "I've fallen in love with you too, Tholes." It was a magical moment. And there, without haste and with an inexplicable sweetness, they shared their first kiss. A kiss filled with emotion, as if every note they had played together had led to this very moment. Tholes didn't want to wait any longer. He took her hands in his and said, determined, "I want to be with you, Elise. I know my mother may never accept this, but I don't care. If you want this too, I'm willing to face anything for us." Elise felt a mix of fear and happiness. Her love for Tholes grew each day, but she feared what might come from it. However, seeing the sincerity in his eyes, she couldn't deny what she felt. "Yes, Tholes. I want to be with you." And so, a beautiful romance began, with the notes of love she never imagined she would play. A few days later, Tholes decided it was time to introduce Elise as his girlfriend to his family. He knew his mother wouldn't react well, but he wouldn't let that stop them. During a family dinner, he held Elise's hand and looked at his parents. "I want you to know that Elise is not just my student. She's the woman I've chosen to be by my side. I know you may have opinions about this, but this is my decision. She is an incredible, talented person with a heart that few possess. I won't accept judgments based on status or prejudice." Victoria remained silent, unable to argue against her son's confidence. Nathaniel, however, smiled sincerely and responded, "Tholes, I've always known you'd make decisions with your heart. Elise, welcome. If you make my son happy, then you have my support." Elise's heart raced at those words. For the first time, she truly felt part of their world. She squeezed Tholes' hand and smiled. The days continued to pass, and her relationship with Tholes flourished with each moment. They found harmony not only in music but also in the deep bond they shared. Slowly, the barriers Victoria had built against Elise began to crumble. Even reluctantly, she couldn't ignore Elise's kindness, gentleness, and simplicity, which captivated everyone around her. Then came an unexpected turning point. During a family lunch, Victoria called Elise aside to the garden, away from the curious eyes. Elise was surprised but accepted the invitation, nervous about what might happen. Victoria, with a hesitant tone, said, "Elise, I'd like to apologize. I was harsh and unfair to you. I judged you without truly knowing you, and now, after spending time with you, I realize how wrong I was. You are an admirable person, and I'm sorry for treating you so coldly." Elise, surprised by Victoria's sincerity, responded with a soft smile, "Mrs. Victoria, I appreciate your words. I never held resentment. I understand that it's natural to protect those we love, but hearing this from you means a lot. Thank you for giving me a chance." They exchanged a genuine smile, marking the beginning of a friendlier relationship. Victoria started treating Elise with more warmth and respect, bringing newfound peace to the family dynamic. In another touching moment, Elise felt the need to speak with Nathaniel. She wanted to express her gratitude for everything he had done. One evening, in the mansion's living room, she approached him. "Mr. Morgan," she began, emotion in her voice, "I don't know how to thank you for what you did for me. That night changed my life in ways I never imagined. If it weren't for you, I wouldn't have discovered that I could fulfill an old dream, and I certainly wouldn't have found the love of my life. All of this happened because you believed in me." Nathaniel smiled, visibly touched. "Elise, that night changed my life too. You saved me literally, but you also brought something new to my family. Seeing you and Tholes together, so happy, is the greatest reward I could ask for. You deserve all of this and more." Tears welled in Elise's eyes, but they were tears of happiness. They shared a long handshake, sealing a bond of mutual respect and admiration. With time, Elise and Tholes' love only grew. They lived each day with joy, sharing dreams and plans for the future. Together, they faced challenges with open hearts and the support of their family. This story teaches us that a person's true worth is not found in their background, but in their character, kindness, and ability to love. Elise and Tholes proved that barriers can be overcome and that love, when true, has the power to transform lives in unimaginable ways. Did you enjoy this heartfelt story? Don't forget to like, subscribe, share with friends, and leave a comment. Stories like this remind us that love and kindness can change lives in the most unexpected ways. And remember, the most unexpected encounters can be the beginning of the most beautiful chapters of our lives. See you in the next story.